This video, I'd like to talk about using the farmer carry event or farmer carry exercise as an endurance event. For the Army Combat Fitness Test, the protocol calls for using 40-pound dumbbells, 40-pound kettlebells actually, one in each hand, and carrying those for 50 meters. So that is a short duration event with a relatively high load. And so the principle of specificity would indicate that to train for that, you would use heavy dumbbells and walk for short distances or heavy kettlebells. However, I would like to advocate that the endurance type of farmer carry is useful in its own right as a great way to progress beyond simply walking, but without the 8 times body weight that goes through ground reaction force going through the joints when one does running. And so the endurance form of farmer carry calls for a different set of weight range, more along the lines of 10 pounds all the way up to 30 pounds if you're really ambitious, and then lengthening the duration of the event or the distance in terms of miles. So anywhere from 1 to 4 miles. In my own training, I use typically 20 or 25 pound dumbbells and typically anywhere from 3 to 5 miles. And that gives a very good workout, and it's not an intense grueling workout, but it's definitely a good workout, and it's beyond walking. It's not quite as intense as running. So let's just go through some ways we can do that. The preferred weight to use for this, I think, is either the kettlebell or the dumbbell. I have dumbbells here, so I'm going to show you those. Before we get into the dumbbells, though, I'd just like to mention a few of the other advantages of the farmer carry over, say, rucksacking, because rucksacking is what people use a lot to do an endurance type exercise that goes beyond simple walking. However, with a rucksack, it does alter your center of gravity such that you have to pitch the trunk forward in order to get the center of gravity over your legs. With the farmer carry, you don't have that issue. The dumbbells or the kettlebells or whatever weight you're carrying are perfectly in line with your center of gravity. Also, another advantage of the farmer carry over a rucksack scenario is that there's no heat against your back, such that in hot weather you're going to be sweating and have an additional heat load. There's just not that issue with the farmer carry. Now, you do have an additional issue with the farmer carry of needing additional grip strength, but there's a way to mitigate that or mitigate the stress from that. And that is when you're carrying, I'll use these 20-pound dumbbells as an example. Anything you're carrying that has a flat bottom, if you're going along for, say, miles on end, and let's say you're getting to the limit of your endurance, your comfortable endurance by gripping the dumbbells, you can periodically set them on your shoulders and still walk along. And this works very well to relax the hands, give the hands that little bit of a break, just enough to where it doesn't become a grueling grip exercise. The other position is in this position here, where you can open up the hands and give them a break. What if you don't have dumbbells? Is there a way to improvise equipment to still be able to do this exercise or this event? And yes, there is. It just would be a matter of looking around or maybe even going to the store. Here I have some jugs that, in this case, it's a cider jug. And these are gallon jugs, so each one weighs 8 pounds. And you can also see that my hand doesn't fit great in there. I have kind of big hands. But these would be acceptable for me if I wanted to do an 8-pound carry for an endurance event with the farmer carry. The more typical milk jug type container, you see my hand doesn't really fit in there well at all. So if all I had were these, I would have to improvise some sort of handle either with a thick rope or a dowel or something like that. The other thing you can do is to consider adding sand into them or lead shot, because that can get the weight heavier than simply 8 pounds. The other strategy is to just look for containers that you might have around the house. This is an old butt pack that's filled with pennies. It weighs 12 pounds. If I were going to use this for the farmer carry, there's a couple of issues with it. One is I don't have 2 of them. So I would have to find another container about like this and then match the weight using a bathroom scale. The other issue is that this is really too long to do the carry, so I would have to double this up and tape it up or do some rigging for that. Not impossible to do, it would just take some figuring to do that. So that's, I think, the basics of the farmer carry for endurance. It's an event or activity that I highly recommend. And like I said, it can be used to be a bridge between walking and running.